all in this together. Make this world better.
Hello there, everyone. We are here right now at the Woodstock Food Festival. I'm Jolitabrilliant, health and lifestyle coach, and this is Frederic, raw food superstar. And I would like to ask a few questions. Well, I was just listening your lesson about the health of the teeth and raw food diet and gums, and I know you have a book, so where people could get, because I think it's very important information. And
yeah, we just had a little talk about dental health on the raw food diet, and I always say it's like kind of the Achilles heel of the raw food movement,
Yes.
because this is a mistake that is so common that it's important to be aware of it.
yes. And they could get your book at your website, frederickpateneude.com
/oralhealth.html.
/oral health. I will put the link down below. So now we covered you can get the teeth, but the other thing you do is very helpful to people. I think you teach people how to make a living doing what you love. And many people in this community think that like making money, or it's kind of not like very good, or it's like monetizing this this field, it makes you a sellout or things like that. And could you comment on that?
Well, I think that's kind of BS, what people say about, it's wrong to make money doing something that helps others versus making money in any other field. And I mean, we all have to make a living. So what is better, making a living doing something that you love that helps other people, or making a living doing something that you hate that maybe doesn't help as many people? We all have to make a living, so do it if you can, doing something that is in accordance to your values and makes you feel good.
Yes, because I feel like we have to spread this message of health and lifestyle, and if we just know information and keep it to ourselves, so it's kind of selfish.
Yes, and also I think that what happens is sometimes, there's a lot of free information on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
right? Videos are great, YouTube
Yes.
is great, but people don't always understand the work that has to come in
To make a
make let's say, a
book.
book, or you have to be paid for that work. And if you just give it away for free, eventually, if all the artists in the world just gave away for free their work, first of all, they wouldn't be able to survive and make a living, and so they would stop doing it. And also, I think people wouldn't value it as much,
Yes.
because a lot of work goes behind the scenes to create, a book and share
Research
information.
and write it.
So we need to be paid for our efforts, and I think it's much better to do that and live
Everyone
with your
gets
values.
paid. And and I think the free information is not always accurate out there, and you can't really trust people. So if they just decide and tell you something, but when a person does a research, they write a book, it's more based on the true facts, not just like fiction you somewhere heard on the internet. And I think we should, all the raw people community should create more products like this and spread this message of like the true facts, not just like I've heard that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So now, how did you? Well, this is like a question. How did you got into raw foods?
Okay. Well, I started in 1996, so it was a long time ago, and not that long, I guess, but now it's starting to feel like a long time. And at the time, the internet really took off in 1998. But before that, there was only a few websites talking about this, and a few books. I learned about it through books mostly, and then later I discovered some websites, and it was just something that really appealed to me. I'm from Montreal originally, so I just, I felt like this was something completely new, that maybe I was the only one in the world doing it, or the only one in this part of the world, and I really wanted to connect it with other people, and nowadays it's so easy to do that with the internet.
Yes, And how do you think we can, using the internet, how we could make this more mainstream? Do you think it's possible that this diet becomes more mainstream?
I don't think it's possible that it becomes mainstream, but I think it's possible, like you said, that it comes just more accepted and more available. And I think that's already happening.
Yes, like raw food restaurants. And
Yeah, raw food restaurants and just more healthy options available. And I mean, just go back 20 years ago when, finding a fresh juice or something like that was much harder than it is today. And salad bars and raw food restaurants and healthier options and vegan options and vegetarian options, I think all of that is happening. So I think the way to do that is to use your own creativity to decide how you're going to do
make
something
it
about
cool,
it. Yeah.
fruits and
So
vegetables.
yeah, maybe it's like you do YouTube videos, or maybe you have an idea for a product. Maybe you have an idea. I think
For
a lot of people
events.
should start lots of businesses and restaurants and websites. But it has to fit who you are.
Yes.
If you're good at writing, then write. If you're good at on the camera, then do videos. And if you're good in a kitchen, maybe open a restaurant. Do something that fits with who you are, and I think that's how we're gonna get this more well known.
Yes, sounds good. Hopefully by next year it's gonna be even more people at the Woodstock Fruit Festival.
Exactly.
Well, in your book, Raw Food Controversies, you write that you're not like 100% raw. So, I mean, you close to that, and of course it's like low fat. But what could you comment on that? And like, what's your diet right now? What's your favorite foods
Yeah.
and things like that?
Well, I came from a background of being a real raw foodist, and I ate everything raw, and I did it for many years. And through my own journey and experiences, at some point, I had kind of a choice to make. Like, do I want to eat 100% raw, like as my goal, or do I want, to do something different?
Seek the ultimate health.
Well, that's the goal all the time, is to be healthy. But I realized I didn't want to be as strict as I used to be, and I found that, at least for me, when I ate lots of fruits and vegetables and combined that with other like beans and grains and sweet potatoes and stuff and greens, that it was kind of the best of both worlds for me. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now.
Okay, so like your breakfast, what's your breakfast like?
Well, breakfast has always been fruit,
Uh-huh.
so that's pretty easy. Breakfast will be usually a smoothie, or I usually all my
Green
smoothies,
smoothies?
all my smoothies are with bananas, pretty much usually. So banana smoothie with I will put greens in it, but not all the time. It depends, what I have available. If I have some spinach, I'll throw in some spinach. I'm very creative, but I don't have a smoothie every day. Usually have maybe every other day, and the other days I have maybe like just a bowl of fruit or what's available. It really depends what's available in the season, but breakfast has always been fruit. Like sometimes watermelon juice. I blend fresh watermelon. Usually I'll go for a run and then I'll eat, or I'll exercise and then I'll eat, and then let's say I go for a
Do you
run.
drink water after waking up?
Not usually, no. Maybe a little bit. I like to, in the winter I drink like herbal tea and stuff like that. So usually I will maybe drink one glass, but I don't try to, like, I know some people have like 1
2
liter of
liters,
water. I
1 liter.
just don't think that's necessary. So yeah, that's what I do for breakfast.
A lunch?
Okay. Lunch is either a fruit meal or a salad with something else. But lately I've been doing kind of a combination of fruit and salads. So
greens.
I'll start the meal with fruit. I'll have like apples and pears, or in the morning I'll have heavier fruits like bananas and so on. And I would not eat those fruits. Or actually, I like to put fruits in my salad now.
I do that too.
Yeah, so I put mangoes in the salad, and so I have a
Just eat greens like some side thing.
yeah. I have a giant salad essentially for lunch, or a fruit meal where I have like another banana smoothie. And some days I actually skip breakfast, you know. So then I have a fruit meal for lunch.
Wow, that's interesting. Why do you skip breakfast?
I go with my hunger. If I'm not exercising,
I see.
I
Not
don't need to
feeling
eat. Yeah.
hungry.
If I don't exercise in the morning, I don't feel hungry until noon. But if I exercise, then I will eat breakfast.
And you eat in the dinner time vegetables, I guess?
Yeah,
Yes,
generally,
fruits?
I will have another fruit snack in the afternoon, usually. So that's quite a bit of fruit during the day, and then that's usually around 4 or something, 3 or 4, and then in the evening I'll have sometimes another salad, you know, as a side dish, and then I'll have the cooked items like I'll have potatoes and rice. I mean, usually the dinner is the only meal that I actually plan.
I see.
So what I have is one trick that really has worked for me is to, and I teach it to a lot of people, is to have a little schedule of things you're gonna eat during the week, but only really plan for dinner, you know, because lunch and breakfast is always the same. So then I'll decide, okay, what do I want to eat on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I plan a few days in advance, so I know what to buy, and I have ideas. I want to try this recipe and so on. Yeah.
So why do you choose to eat rice, let's say, or cooked potato instead of fruit?
I just, you know, I did mostly fruit for a long time, and I still do a lot of fruit, but I just find it's just
More grounding,
it's just,
or like?
yeah, maybe more grounding, and also I find it's just less complicated for me, and I don't feel like eating fruit for
Too
dinner.
much
I
fruit?
just feel I don't feel like eating fruit for dinner. In fact, one of our
It's too much because it interferes with melatonin production, so
It's,
very
it's more a
high energy.
personal preference. You know, I just don't feel satisfied.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people
Oh, okay.
don't feel satisfied with just fruit for dinner.
You need something like little heavier.
And it's
kind.
also like when I talked about my personal choice, is that I decided that I was not going to be a raw foodist anymore. Like I was not going to be a 100% raw foodist anymore. So I think it's better to have some kind of, at least in my experience, it's better to have some kind of pattern that you're eating similarly every day, rather than go through extremes, because your body adapts to what you're eating. So if you're eating 100% raw all the time, and then you have something cooked, or you have
It's like a
you
shock.
feel lethargic almost, because your body is not
yeah.
used to digesting that on a daily basis.
Yes.
We really adapt to what we're eating, so I find it's better to have a similar
occasion,
thing
like-
every day, and instead of going from one extreme to another. So that way I find I'm not drawn to binging, or I don't want to, you know.
If you go sometimes to, like, let's say, vegan restaurant or somewhere else, and you eat something cooked, it's not gonna have effect on you as it would have if you didn't eat cooked foods.
Yeah, it's not going to have as strong as an effect, but because what I do is I don't eat oil, or except if I don't have a choice. So let's say I go to a restaurant and have something, and it might have some oil in it. That would be like the only time I would use oil. So I would still feel the difference. You know, if I never feel as good like eating in most restaurants, there's some exceptions, than I would with my own food, you know, obviously. So
unless you ask them not to put
Yeah.
oil, or there's a certain
you
dish
can,
that-
but sometimes they're always going to mess it up, you know. And there's just the way people are used to cooking, with a lot of salt, a lot of oil, and so on. So, but to answer the first part of your question, I think it's true. If you're like a strict raw foodist, you're going to be more sensitive. So going off your diet is going to
that makes sense.
be more disastrous results.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. So for other question, I would like to ask. Okay, what do you think, like, about some people, like, being like dogmatic and let's say kind of not, you know, saying that this is the right way for everyone to eat, and so you was touching a little bit in your lecture too, that, you know, like, what's the perfect diet would be like. You don't think that this is the perfect diet? Why is that?
Well, I think like because you talked about imposing choices on other people and why people are dogmatic.
Yes.
And I think it's
What causes?
It's natural when you first discover something to be very enthusiastic about it.
Yes.
Especially if you're younger, you tend to have more zeal and enthusiasm to share what you know and feel like. I mean, when I was younger, when I was in my early 20s, I discovered something. I wanted everybody to do it. But then you realize you can't change other people, so what's the point in trying to change the world? Why not just change yourself? And I don't even think like, I know people say the saying, be the change you want to be in the world. And yes, that is true. But just be the change for the sake of yourself,
Yes.
like you want, and don't expect that the world is going to change in response to you. It maybe some people are going to be inspired by you and are going to change. Maybe not, but you do it for yourself and you expect the best.
And I think, what we eat is not the number one thing that defines a person. I mean, it's definitely important part of it, and it's, of course, raw food diets will open up, give you consciousness and everything, but also it is important what other lifestyle choices and things person chooses to do. So you can't like say, if you eat this, you're good, or if you eat that, you're not as good, or things like that. But of course, it's important to eat clean and as much as that, because that's just for the health, to avoid different conditions and diseases.
Exactly. Yeah.
So is there anything else you would like to share with our viewers? How do you like this festival?
I love this festival, the Woodstock Fruit Festival. It's great. I mean, I've never seen, first of all, so much fruit available and so many great, healthy people exercising, and I think everybody is welcome. I mean, we've had people from all backgrounds, all countries.
Germany, UK,
Australia, Canada, everywhere. Norway,
California, from all
Denmark.
the United States, yeah.
Exactly. So it's really an awesome festival, and the settings are beautiful, and it's something you don't want to miss.
Beautiful nature and lectures. Like, what other lectures are you going to do on this? Still going to do?
Yes, I'm going to talk about making a living in the
Doing
natural
what-
health
oh.
movement, and also the raw food controversies.
Oh, sweet. Well, thank you so much for giving me the interview. And
Thank you, Jolita.
Goodbye, everyone. See you in the
Bye.
next video.
We all in this together. Make this world better.